So I figured out in my mind that I had to give it a shot. It's like a gamble which I'm about to play, but I had to somehow make sir ask me questions on economics because finance was something which was not very, I was not very confident in. Hi everyone, welcome to my channel S for Shivani, a one-stop destination for all your MBA needs. I am Shivani Saxena, and in today's video I will be talking about how I converted IMT Ghaziabad. And as it is raining interviews and calls and shortlists, I feel this video is very important as it will give you a glimpse as to with what mindset you should enter a room where all these processes take place, and you should know what are the things which IMT Ghaziabad expects from a candidate. A little bit background about myself. So I scored 97.6 in 10, 97.5 in class 12, 93% in SRCC. I'm a BCom honors graduate and I have around 13 months of work experience in the auto sector. I scored 93 percentile in CAT and I took CAT in 2017 and I went for the process in 2018. So at that time, IMT Ghaziabad used to have 3 rounds. First one was a critical thinking, second one was a group exercise which I have a very interesting story to tell, and PI was even more interesting, and I will tell you how I played a gamble and it worked in my favor, and thus I was able to convert IMT Ghaziabad. Before I talk about the detailed interview and different rounds of experience, I just want to request you to like the video and subscribe to the channel because it gives me motivation to continue to make more videos and help you guys out. So firstly, I'll talk about the critical thinking round. So compared to other rounds, it was the easiest round wherein I was given some 20 minutes. We were taken to a room wherein a topic was given, and if I remember it right, the topic was around commercialization of education in India, and I had to present 5 points either in support of the argument or against the argument. So whatever I felt was the right thing, I had to write that in form of points. It was over in 20 minutes and then I came out wherein we were divided into groups. I think one group had a lot of people. If I remember right, some 12 to 13 people in one group were there, and then we were taken for a group exercise. This was one of the very unique rounds that I had ever seen. There were 2 panelists who were sitting in the room and they were silent. We were not allowed to talk to them or ask them anything. We were given a case which was around how in a particular village a lot of kids are dropping out from school and they're not joining and completing their education. So we had to find what are the possible reasons for the same and how we can tackle these issues. But there was no chair in the room, so we could not sit, and we could see that there were a lot of chart papers, sketch pens, markers, pencils, notepads, and all these things were given in the room. So initially it was utter chaos as everyone was trying to grab a chart paper, grab a sketch pen and trying to find place, so it was like a U-shape arrangement. So everybody was trying to stand in the middle so that they are visible by the panelists. I think I lost a few 2-3 good minutes in just figuring out how do I get these people to listen to me, because there was chaos. Everybody was talking, snatching things and all that. I saw one chart paper. I took like a black sketch pen and a blue sketch pen, and I took that and I stood in one side. When in like 5 minutes everyone was settled, I started saying that we should now start with the discussion as we are running out of time. So in this way I was able to add value initially by helping people settle down and listen to me. Then we started discussing what could be the possible reasons. one of the persons was in charge of writing the possible reasons on a chart paper. So they were making like pointers 1, 2, 3, 4. So we discussed that it could be the distance of the school from the home. It could be poverty, that parents are forcing their kids to go and do a job and earn for the family. It could be that the girls are hitting puberty and that is why they are not comfortable coming to a school which doesn't have a washroom. And all such social issues were discussed at length, and there was a person who was jotting them down. Now, I took the charge of formulating solutions. So I took up one thing, which was that I would do a door-to-door awareness campaign, going to the houses of people, asking them what the problem was, and convincing them to come back to school and complete their education. So I took this particular aspect under me, and I told them that I am now going to draw a poster which will be about the campaign that I plan to have. I gave the campaign a name. I drew a kid who was reading a big book, and on the book was some slogan that how education is important. That was like whatever I could come up with at that particular moment. And so that was my contribution in the whole discussion. And then there were some other ideas like how the faculty, the quality of teaching can be improved, how can students be given free resources like books, food, or things like that to attract them to come to school and other things. But my contribution was very much visible and highlighted, and the panelists also took note of it. So few things to learn from my experience. Firstly, be quick. If you are an introvert, then it is not the time to be an introvert. You have to push yourself, you have to raise your voice and be heard. I lost a few good minutes in just figuring out what is happening, but if you can just push yourself and you can settle down the crowd at as early as possible, then that will be good for you. Also, if you are someone who knows the skills, like if you think that you can come up with on the spot solution, or like in my case I felt that I can draw well, so I took that particular aspect under me and I worked on my strength. So know your strength beforehand and capitalize it as soon as you get into the room. So I came out of the room feeling confident that yes, okay, I have been successful in standing out in the crowd. But then all my confidence was shattered when I went for the personal interview. So while I was sitting there, I remember I was the second last person to go, and there were a lot of people. So slowly people were getting done with the interviews and they were leaving for their homes, and I was still sitting there. And I was basically curious to know what questions were being asked, and so was everybody else. So somebody told me that there are two panelists. One is a sir, one is a ma'am. Ma'am teaches finance and she is asking all tough questions on GDP of China, US, Middle East countries, how their economies are doing, and etc. And there is a sir who teaches economics, but he is the silent person there. He's just staring at you and he is not talking at all. Now I was like, I have no idea about China's economy or US or Middle East and all those countries. And it would be very tough for me to even talk about what India is up to, leave alone the other countries. So I figured out in my mind that I had to give it a shot. It's like a gamble which I'm about to play, but I had to somehow make sir ask me questions on economics, because finance was something which was not very I was not very confident in. So I went into the room, and they had the most stern faces, and they asked me one question which made me really nervous. They asked me, so what have the others told you about the questions that we are asking? At that moment I was like, okay, were they able to hear me talk about outside the door, or what is going to happen? So I just said very cleverly, and you have to say it at your own risk. So I simply said that no ma'am, I do not believe in getting influenced by others' interview experience, because I believe that my profile and the way I will handle my interview experience will be very different from what others have. So they are basically independent of each other. as I want to come up with a clean slate in the interview room and start from scratch, just like a zero-based budget. Now this was one economics term which I had dropped, and it got the male panelist to become active. So he was sitting like very laid back on the chair and he was just observing me till now. But then when he heard zero-based budget, he just came in front and he was like, Shivani, what do you mean by zero-based budgeting? I took a second to just say in my mind yes, and I had done it. And then my entire interview was basically sir asking me economics based question, which was my strength, and ma'am was then the silent observer. Then he asked me questions like what is M0, M1 money in money supply. He asked me to explain the multiplier effect. There was a pen and paper which was given to me, and I had to show them the balance sheet and how the money was getting multiplied because of lending to other banks. They asked me what is the economic survey of India, and what are the various provisions in it which were from the last year and what I think about them. Then there were 2-3 questions on current affairs to which I didn't know the answer, so I just told them that I do not know. They passed a remark that कि मेरे कॉलेज में सब सिखाया नहीं जाता है क्या एंड ऑल दैट, एंड आई सेड कि सर मतलब सिखाया भी गया होगा तो आई डोंट रिमेंबर इट, इट्स माय फॉल्ट. Then they asked me what I did in the group exercise. So just to tell you here that you have to be like really careful of excelling at each round, because in a way one round will impact your other round, and then you have to justify your actions as well. So I told them I worked on my strength, which was painting and drawing, and that is why I took up that particular initiative and created a nice poster for the campaign. Then the questions was about which kind of painting do you do, name 3 famous painters, and they asked me which kind of painting I like. So I said Madhubani painting. They asked me the origin of Madhubani art, and then it went a bit in depth, but I was prepared for all these questions. Then there were a few questions on government policies, basically everything economics related, and I was able to do well at it. And then they asked me which other calls I had. So I didn't tell them about IIM Shillong, but I told about the rest because I knew the question would be on if given a choice between IIM Shillong and IMT, what will you choose? I didn't want to have that conversation, so I simply didn't tell them. So I simply tried to avoid that scenario by just mentioning a few of the calls that I got. And that was it for the interview. I came out of the process very exhausted and feeling happy also, but I was just like, what if he would have just thought I'm a mad person to just bring up zero-based budget? What if it had backfired? So all these thoughts were there in my mind, but I was happy that this thing happened and not me saying I don't know to every finance question I was asked. So this was my fun interview experience at IMT Ghaziabad. After a few days I was able to convert the call, and still I chose SIBM Pune as my choice of college. So that was it for this particular video. There are more videos on how I cracked SIBM Pune and IIM Shillong and other MBA related videos on my channel, which you can access by clicking at the I pop-up at the top of the screen. If you have any more questions about my IMT experience or any other shortlist experience, you can ask those questions in the comment section. And before you close the video, do not forget to like it and subscribe to my channel. All the best for your interview, and I'm sure you're going to rock it.